so excited to be back live with you guys. It's been a while, and I'm actually just in our Facebook group looking just to be sure. Okay, good. I wanted to be sure that the post went up about the live. And naturally, YouTube has put an ad in front of it. I just wanted to have it at the side because I've got some questions you awesome people submitted in the Facebook group. And you I can't look at the comments when I have the questions on the screen. So let me just go to the comments now. Hello, hello. Oh my gosh, I could see you guys saying hi. And Kelsey's here, and Susie's here, Jean, CJ, Anita. Hello, hello. Oh, it's so good to see you guys all. So lovely, so lovely. I don't know about you guys, but fall is my favorite season, and I feel like it has been for a really long time. And I think like as you grow to be an adult and you enjoy fall a lot more. I think as a kid, like it's like back to school and so much of life feels like it just takes so long. Meanwhile, it goes so fast and it's all relative because kids, they don't have a lot of years behind them, so everything seems like it's been long. Meanwhile, like the older we get, the faster life seems. So, hello, Emily, Simone, Colette, yay, Sanderson Cherie from Michigan, Simone from Montreal. That is so cool. Megan, hello. Oh, you know what? Colette has got me on these Soya and Co candles. And I am just loving them. And I just come in my office every day now. I pretty much in August decide it's fall. So now that it is, yes, another Canadian. So I just like love to dive into the candles. And now that it is like middle of September, and to be honest, the weather here actually feels quite fall like, which is unusual. Usually it still feels quite summery. Oh my gosh, so many people. I love it. I love it. People from Texas. Now tell me what you're drinking. That's an important thing here. Since it's fall, of course, I really like to have tea. I actually drink a lot of tea every single day, every of the year. Today I am back on my pumpkin chai from David's Tea. I absolutely love it. I also really, really, really like the Murchie's tea, which Kelsey would always say, "Oh, I'm drinking Murchie's," and she would say it in our lives here for a couple of years now. And so I invested in Murchie's. I love it. The Paris afternoon is my absolute favorite. So I am drinking this Lady Grey tea. I don't think I've ever tried it. Take a deep breath. It's so funny when you do a live stream and I have like the chat here and we're like talking away. It's like I don't feel like I'm alone and I don't feel like I'm the person doing all of the chatting. Meanwhile, I really am the person doing all of the chatting. And Megan, a thunderstorm. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're all tired of the smoke. Oh my gosh. Everybody, everybody. Victoria, I'm so glad you knew to drink tea for your first live with us. Anita, she's like caramel latte as usual. Yes, she always has that. So everyone, I am just A&W root beer. That's awesome. So I am very excited to get back to our lives. You know, in the past I've said like they'll be every week and then every 2 weeks and then every month. And so it's kind of just going to be random, but in the summer, everybody's so busy. And I thought, I think we'll just not do a bunch of lives in the summer and um, we'll just pick it up in the fall because fall is my favorite season. And then we get into Christmas. And if you know me, you know I love Christmas and I love to help people to enjoy Christmas more and to simplify life because like that is a whole purpose of my channel is that I love helping people to recognize that by removing a bunch of things that life can be so much better. And Christmas in particular, and we're mostly just talking about fall stuff today, but I will say Christmas in particular is a time of the year where it can feel so overwhelming and it can feel like unenjoyable because there's just so much. And I like that when we remove the things that don't matter, like we remove the chaff, we're left with like this amazing season that we can enjoy. And for me, it's the exact same with fall because fall, I don't know if you're anything like me, I just want to do all the things, especially in like the cozy season. So we dropped our son off at university. He's just across the water. I'm on Vancouver Island. He's over in the lower mainland, which is great. He's not far, but he's so busy. And I literally said to my husband, I was like, just overnight, I became both of our moms because I was like, he's not calling, he is texting a little bit, but I like he'll be like texting me something and I'll phone him and he'll be like, "Oh, I'm in the library." And I'm like, "Ah." So he's not. And he's like, "I haven't even talked to dad." And I'm like, you could phone him. So it's just really funny. And so I said, because both of our moms were like, "You don't call me enough." And like in within the past few months. And now I'm like, now that's me. So anyway, we dropped our son off and I was feeling very I love going over to Vancouver. I did not feel like being there. I just wanted to be home. I, of course, wanted to be with him, drop him off. Although literally we like dropped him off. We were there for like in his room for maybe 10 minutes and he was like, "Okay, bye." And we were like, "Oh, okay." Which was great because then, we can go and do things. But I was just like, I just want to be home. I just want to be like nesting, I think truly is what it is. And it's like Susie here is saying a lot of food is in the freezer, like getting ready for things. She's talking about Christmas, but for me, like for fall, I think it truly is like we are, animals, right? Our bodies are designed to be like, you start stocking up for winter. And I have like this beautiful garden, which Anita just asked me about. And oh my gosh. I was so there's this awesome channel called Three Rivers Homestead, and she does this challenge called the Every Bit Counts challenge. And it's all about um putting, canning and just preserving every day in August. Well, the thing is, in my garden, there still isn't enough to put away in August, but there is in September. And I am like, now I don't want to. Now I'm like, no, I want to be like focusing on fall. So it's like, oh, I gotta train my brain. So I have I have like a bunch of onions. It was not a great year for onions. It was actually the first year that I started them from seed, although like they did well in a lot of ways. And my friend Chelsea from Little Mountain Ranch was chatting with me about that and she was giving me advice and I actually just watched her video right before our live and she was showing this gorgeous haul with these huge like beautiful red onions. So I'm going to hit her up. In fact, she actually recommended a video to watch in that one. And if you go and watch her stuff, tell her Robin sent you. But anyway, um, yeah, I have a lot to do in the garden still. I have got tomatoes. Pretty much, I'm just throwing almost all of the tomatoes in the freezer. It just makes them so easy to peel, and then I can actually just do it. I made a bunch of pizza sauce, I think in January, which is great. So I don't have to worry too much about that. And I also, what else do I have? Because I live in a climate where it doesn't usually freeze too much, I can actually leave my carrots in the ground. Even if the ground freezes, it's not like usually like a crazy hard freeze. So I can actually leave them there. So that works out really great. I don't have to worry about the carrots at all. I got a bunch of celery. And the funny thing about celery is like I don't eat a lot of celery, but it's in a lot of recipes. And what I did was I planted celery and I harvested a bunch of it. And it's so funny. Oh gosh, I don't have it here, but there's a picture of me like hugging my celery. I'm like, yay. And then I like Brought it in the kitchen full of earwigs. I hate earwigs so much. It was so gross. I said to my husband, I'm like, oh, look at this picture. I was just hugging the celery and it's full of earwigs, but it's okay. So anyway, yeah, like I just love like putting stuff like that away. Because then you can chop up celery, stick it in the freezer, and then it is good to go. Like anytime you need like a cup of celery, you just like go in the bag, throw it in the recipe. It's so good. Yeah. And we had so many cucumbers. So yeah, the garden is doing good. I need to get out there. I'm very busy because we are doing our um closet challenge. So I've been getting that ready. So during the week, Monday to Friday, I've been working on getting all of that ready. And then I do take weekends off. For a couple of years, I took no days off ever. Um, I was YouTube or nursing, and now I'm like, if I am nursing, I still take days off, or, and I work on YouTube and the business, and I still take the weekends off. And the thing is, like, when I am working in my nursing job, it's usually on weekends. So I will make sure that I take off a day. Now, let's see. We just picked all our corn, a bunch of bugs. Oh, gosh. That's too bad. Some years are terrible. This was actually my first year where I had like I would say a decent corn harvest. We harvested 3 ears of corn and they were delicious. But yeah, there were only 3. And in the past, it's just been terrible. Um, Yes. Oh, and so you guys, if you have not joined the autumn declutter challenge, it's Monday to Friday next week. It's going to be so good. No matter what stage your closet is in, if you don't get it completely decluttered, you will make a huge dent and you will have a plan for what to do with the rest. It's going to be super duper fun. I've got quite a few people who have registered so far, which is awesome. And I want you there. It is going to be a blast. And in fact, we're going to dive in to a big part about decluttering that a lot of people don't think of. And I'm realizing this is a thing that so many of us YouTubers don't talk about. And that is most of our clutter problems are in our brain. I'm not saying we have cluttered brains. I'm saying that a lot of it just comes from what lessons we had growing up. Like my mom said, she was told like you save things for good. One of my past clients, she said like her mom would save like all the hummus containers and like have a stack of because she was like, no, like you could use it, right? And it's things that we have learned in life that we need to overcome. And beliefs, right? Beliefs about ourselves. Like my dad, his belief was always like, I'm the person that things come to. And it was almost like he like romanticized it in a way. We just finished watching Harry Potter, and there's sort of like all of these characters who have these certain like attributes, right? Like there's like the wand guy and like Hagrid, who's really big and he's the guy who knows everything about animals. And it's like everybody, and so my dad was like, I am the person that things come to. And it's like, yeah, but that's like really not helping you. So beliefs, generational stuff, and like habits. So we're going to tackle a lot of that stuff in the challenge. So you can head over to minimalisthome.ca/closet. So let's get to some questions here. I better put that on the screen. um, Now I yesterday said, should I do a live? It's been so long. And everybody was like, yes. And they gave me questions, which was so good because I love to have some questions. Now, let me go here to the questions. Oh, you know what I'm going to do is remove that. I got to go to chat, hide. I thought I had. Okay. So Marianne asks, I'm wondering, as a nurse, just an all-around busy person, do you have thoughts on how aging affects our goals, routines, ability to keep up with or without a diagnosed reason? Because most of my family has ADHD. We all slow down. It gets harder, I think. So I think that It does depend on the person, but for me, and this is why a lot of the stuff I was just said about the challenge is so important because for me, as I get older, life is busy, but I have decided what needs to stay and what needs to go. So, as a minimalist, like if you were to walk in my house, you wouldn't be like, oh, there's nothing here, right? Like, I am a minimalist in that I only keep what I need, sort of more of like an essentialist. And it's the same with like, um, priorities, with obligations. And there are times where I'm just like, I feel really frustrated that like this is my responsibility or this is my responsibility. And I think that a lot of us as we get older, we can get more perspective of that. Like I'm only 44, but I'm at a point in life where I feel like life is still busy, but I can say this is important and this isn't. And if this thing that I'm deciding not to use is still here, then then it's going to present itself again if it's important. It's sort of like if you have an idea and then you forget what it is and then you remember later, perfect, you can use that idea again. I don't think I'm explaining that very well, but my point is that like as we get older, hopefully what is a real priority becomes clear. Now, for people who have like generational stuff or, like they have certain beliefs or certain habits that really are like, you are the person who has to do it all, or you are the person who has to keep everything. Those are things that can really get in your way. So even if you do get older, or well, hopefully you get older, as you get older, that those things will still be there. So it's harder to sort of like relax. I hope I explained that well, but that's how I feel about that. Okay. Megan, our lovely Megan. Yes, that's right. Kelsey says, I feel like we have to triage life. And that's exactly it. And as you get older, I think you get better at triaging. And if we tackle that other stuff, then it makes life much more enjoyable. And I'm very excited about that. Okay. So Megan says, I'm trying, and this is to our lovely Megan, who's always been here, and she's like a runner and a writer and everything. I'm trying to find the way to shift into fall. Oh my gosh, my favorite thing to talk about. Need a bit of a reset after a more laid back, lazy summer. School has started, marathon. Oh gosh. I think that it's really wise to just stop and slow down and even like have a moment or a day where if you can, and believe it or not, I do this all the time, that you just stop and you just say like, like you just like take some deep breaths. Like you could do like 3 deep breaths right now and then just have a day where you kind of just mentally shift away from summer towards fall. One of the things that I do all the time is I go and I lie in bed and I just think, and I call it thinking time. And I just lie there and I will have a pull in the middle of the day when I'm like busy, busy, busy doing work or feeling lazy. And I will just go and lie down. And it's where I do so much of my processing. It has also helped me sleep way better because I don't go to bed with my mind racing because I've gotten the thoughts out of the way earlier in the day. And I think that to shift into fall, it's sort of like you need to, for me anyway, I need to mentally actually be like, okay, like we are shifting into fall. And I need to like almost have that conversation with myself. And the other thing, I absolutely, so once you say that to yourself, your subconscious needs to learn, oh, it's time to shift into fall. Planner. I use my planner all the time. And I absolutely love it. I told you we're getting ready for like this challenge coming up. So I have all this like long list of things that I want to get done. But um it's helpful to just like make a list. If you're going from a season where life is like super easygoing and relaxed to a busy season, like make a list. And we still are pulling zucchini from the garden. So I made these amazing muffins from what'sgabbycooking.com. Gaby. She pronounces it gobby, which is just strange to me. So anyway, what's gobbycooking.com and zucchini muffins, chocolate. Oh my gosh, so good. So I made some of those because then they can go in the kids' lunch. But I found it's the same, very, very hard. And yes, like making lists and my to do, like I will write down on like Thursday or Friday, I will look at the next week and be like, okay, I need to like do this and this and this. And then like the night before I look, and it's not like in a stressful way, it's in a relaxing way. Like it just makes me feel like, oh, it's good. I can get it done. Let me look here. I have not had a slow season in my life in years. And that is interesting. And I understand that. That is why, if at all possible, we can start to remove things. And in life, there are so many times where we're like, it's so crazy. Because I do this and this and this and this and this, but I want to do this. Like, say you were like, I want to clean out my closet, or I want to finally get on top of my clutter. Maybe you need to take something that is on your obligation list and put it on pause or hand it off to somebody for the time being. Like sometimes it's like there is literally no more room for other things. So something has to be put on the back burner. Like for me, if life was getting like really crazy, and as a person who loves gardening, maybe I would just be like, I'm not going to garden this year. I'm not saying that's like, let's hope it never comes to that, but maybe that's what it is. So when life is absolutely crazy, is there something that can be put on pause or something that can be put on the back burner? The other thing is like, so often we spend time like people are always like, you're scrolling on the internet and you're this and you're that. Like those things do take up time. So are you doing something that is productive? Are you doing something that is restful? Or are you doing something that is sort of like numbing, like scrolling social media? Like I do it too. Last night, we just finished the Harry Potter movies, all 8 movies. That last movie is so good, I might say. But anyway, we just finished it. And I came in my office to do something and I sat down and I scrolled on Facebook for like 15 minutes. And I was like, what am I doing? It's like 9:45 and it just happened. And sometimes that's just our brain's way of saying like, I need a break, but it's not really a break. Like it's just the wrong way. I will not quit gardening. You quit gardening? Paula's Permaculture Gardens? Oh, anyway, my point is we need to be aware of what we're doing. Just a little bit more awareness and what is true rest? Am I getting true rest? Is scrolling social media true rest? Like for me now in the middle of my day when I'm working at home and not as a nurse, I will like go and like just like lie down and just think. And sometimes I fall asleep, sometimes I don't. And yes, phones are a distraction. I agree. Oh, righty. Next question. Oh, yes. I will answer Colette's after. Okay. With Christmas coming up, holiday gift giving, how much is too much? Oh boy, you asked the wrong person this question. Okay, so if you're familiar with the love languages, I had my friend Lindsay on. She's a relationship coach. She's amazing. And if you can pray for her cat, Barbara, who is very sick right now, and he's got internal bleeding, and she's on her way to Victoria from Nanaimo. She's very upset, like at this moment. So give her a little prayer. But she loves to talk about the love languages, and she like my husband's love language is gift giving, and mine is that is last for me, so last, which is a problem because for me, I'm like at Christmas, I'm like, why do we need to do gifts at all? Meanwhile, for people like him, it's not like the actual gift, it's sort of like the thoughtfulness. And I understand, like in our society, like gift giving is such a big thing. So for me, I love to give practical gifts when at all possible, and I really like to give food gifts. So if you can, what kind of gifts can you do? How can you minimize it? Can you give things that are practical that can be used up, which is nice so that they're not going to like stack up in people's houses? and experience gifts. I think I've talked about my friend Kim before. Her and her husband, they took their kids over to Vancouver as a gift. Like they were like, "Hey, we're going to go to Vancouver and like have a fun day here." Vancouver's like an hour and a half ferry ride away. Like that doesn't seem that unusual, but I think that's awesome. I'm just like super duper impressed with that. So I think that quite often we look at gifts, we think it has to come in a box, it has to, be something tangible somebody can hold, and I like the idea of, like, slowly transitioning away from that. I love in Pretty Women pretty yeah, I was gonna say Pretty Woman. Wait, Little Women, wow. In Little Women, when, they do Christmas, and I always think about, like, first of all, how excited Amy was about that orange, okay, and how they one of them was so excited about, one was so excited about sorry, I just got a text from my mom. I was, like, trying not to read it, but also read it. One was so excited about pencils, right? Like, I can't even remember what the rest were. So it's like, what are useful things, right? So if somebody, like, wants to give me something, I'm like, "Oh gosh," like, something I can use, like and gift cards, I know somebody was saying gift cards can be a real thing because then they can stack up, and, somebody gave my husband a gift card for somewhere we had never been, and it was like a really thoughtful thing, but at the same time, we still haven't used it because we just don't even go there, and we will. It's very kind, but it's like, what can you do to show somebody you love them? Like, even, like, writing a note. Tea and socks for the win, Megan says. Absolutely. Like, um I love tea. Let me think. Oh, okay, Paula says, "Don't quit gardening." Got it. I'm just looking. Gifts are such a hard thing. I agree. Gift buying is the worst. For children, give membership to a children's museum, art classes, music. Yeah, and we have a place locally where people do like zip lining and climbing and stuff. And we gave our kids a membership to that one year, which was good. And I think like with our kids, as my husband I complain about his like love language of gift giving. And really that's like if I go out shopping and I come home and I bring him like a coffee, he's grateful for that. Like to him, that is me showing him love. Meanwhile, for me, it's more like acts of service or like physical touch, words of affirmation. I have a couple of friends. You should watch these two talking to each other. And I'm just sort of like, they'll be like, "You are so wonderful," and how you blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, good, like, that's not mine. I'm very bad. I'll be like, "Good for you." I'm not very good at the words of affirmation, but, yeah, so gift giving can be a challenge, and at Christmas, I think that my point is, like, my husband for years, like, he really wanted to give our kids, like, tons of things, and I was like, "We need to rein it in," and we managed to get it to the point where they feel like they've had, like, a decent Christmas if they get just a couple things, which, I'm happy with, and usually it's something useful. They're teenagers now, which makes it easier too. Okay. Colette's words of affirmations. I need you to tell me how awesome I am, and I need you to do it all the time. I love it. That's the same with those 2 friends of mine. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Susie likes to get multi-purpose compost. Exactly. Exactly. Like, I'm like, build me a fence around my garden to keep the deer out. Now that is love. So Anita says she was responding to Colette, and I'll get to Colette's in a minute. And I'm saving hers for last for a reason. But um, she was like, "What Christmas? I'm more thinking about collecting outdoor toys for my grandson and cleaning them, um, and preparing indoor toys." Yeah, I think that. So I guess it wasn't really a question, but she was just responding to Colette. But yeah, like that's just the other great thing about preparing for fall. And this is what Jean's question was. It's like, yeah, like getting ready for the season. And it's so funny because like I'm sorry I'm gonna go back to gardening again, but that's just like such a huge part of my life for about 6 months. And then it's like nothing for 6 months. Other than a bit of planning. But I I was thinking, "Oh, I should plant some purple sprouting broccoli. And then I thought, oh, it's too late. And it's like, just like that, it becomes too late, even though it's the beginning of September. And it's the same with like planning your winter and fall stuff. Like, what needs to be done now? Anita, she's super wise right now because she's looking at what needs to be tackled outside, what like outdoor toys need to be tidied up to be brought inside. And she's ahead of the game. And there's, like anybody who's like, wait a minute, I didn't even think about that right now. I'm not very smart. Like, no, this is why, like, when I have talked about my Christmas book that I use, and I will get into that in another video, and I have talked about it in the past, but like, I just remember one Christmas saying, I feel like I didn't get to do all of the things I want. My husband and my kids don't really care about us doing a lot. There's a few things that they really want to get done. I'm the person that wants to get all the things done. I'm the person that loves fall so much and wants to bake like a million pumpkin muffins. And I grew so many pumpkins this year. My husband's like, what are you going to do with them? And I'm like, put them on the porch so they look beautiful, obviously. And I mean, I'll cook some of them, but so I'm the one that wants to do all of that stuff. And this one Christmas, I remember it was like, I don't know, Christmas Eve or Boxing Day or something. And I just was like, I want to fit more in. How can I get all this stuff done? So I just wrote it all down. And then I started putting it in my Google Calendar with reminders. And I just the other night put a reminder in myself for June with a note that I wanted to remember for the summer, right? And so that's what you can do. So like Anita could say, she could put down like a reminder for September 14th and say like clean kids outdoor toys, right? And for us, we have this like furniture in the back that gets like tidy or gets tidy. It gets obviously like it rains here for like 5 months. So we pretty much need to put everything away. Like you can't leave it out in the rain or it will get destroyed. So it's like instead of saying, "Oh no, now it's raining, we gotta put the stuff away wet or try to figure out how to dry it." Like, no, like when could I tackle that before the rain starts coming? Like I could say, like realistically, like October 15th, put away the cushions. And so it's like recognizing, like, don't be hard on yourself, but say, oh my gosh. Like for me, like I've talked about like how I like my soaps. I love my Mrs. Meyer's cider soap. So I have a reminder on my phone, and it's been there for a few years to order soap from Amazon. And guess what? This girl has all the soap she needs. I'm so excited. I might even have enough for next year, which is great. And I have it like ready to go in the closet because I'm ahead of the game because I thought, hey, I feel like a failure. How can I combat that? So anyway, with Jean, it's the exact same. Adjusting your mind. How can you integrate your decluttering and organizing for the season of life that you're in? So you could say, now, you could do some outside decluttering and then look at, say, like, I want to integrate decluttering and organizing into my life, like into, now my kids are grown up or my grandkids are growing up and they don't want these certain things. For me, like I have my youngest just turned 14 and I just had this thought yesterday. And I just was like, last year when I was out in the garden, my youngest came out and like I would go out after dinner and try to do things and just sort of want some like space. And he'd come out and be like chattering away. And I'd be like, oh gosh, like I love him. I'm going to be sad one day when he's not doing this, but I kind of just want some alone time. And guess what? This year, he didn't come out. And so I'm at that season now where like we don't need any toys in our house, really. We have a lot of Lego because we have like stuff out. Like we are a Lego appreciating family, but nobody's like actively building it. So I'm at a point where I'm like, we like our trampoline. We don't need it. Nobody wants it. Nobody's using it. And so what stage of life are you at? Are you at are like kids been gone for years and there aren't any grandkids? Like what can you do? And like how can you like like safely, mentally say like, okay, I'm going to like let this go. Have a moment. Like for me with my son, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm not gonna dwell on it. But I do think it's important to acknowledge it and to feel the feels. Like I often say, feel the feels. And so, yes, like integrating, decluttering, and organizing for the season of life that you're in, Gene, I think anytime we always should be decluttering. And somebody commented recently about like the Swedish death cleaning and was like, well, I would have nothing left. And do you think I just want to live in this house with nothing just so people don't have to clean out my stuff? I'm like, no. But do you want stuff like, do you want stuff sitting around that you don't use? No. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Summer to fall transition. It's a fast one. It is a fast one. Oh my gosh, Susie, I will tell you, so my mother-in-law is from Edinburgh. I don't know if I say that right, but I was showing her your pictures and of all the heather and everything, and we were appreciating it on our Facebook group. Um, and future reminders are a gift to your is so true for your future self. Hard to find and forget that we're also in hunting season now. Yeah. Yeah, it is a hard season, and what's really funny is it feels like they go from 13 to 14, and overnight, they're instantly grumpy teenagers, like, I also said, because he's, like, just been my buddy, like, I don't know if it's a youngest thing or what, but he's often just been the most snuggly and, just been just always, like, we're very playful and jokey, and I just was like, "Who's your best friend?" And he just, like, doesn't he's like, "Ugh, mom." And I was like, "You used to be," like, kinda, like, joking, but at the same time, my husband's like, "Oh, oh my gosh." But I said, "For a year, they're really annoying and grumpy, and then they just turn better." Mine did all when they were 15. And Colette says that her daughter has been a grumpy teenager for 10 years. Oh, that's so funny. Okay. Colette's question. Yay, let's do it. I can come. Finally, she can come back to the lives. Okay. Touch on changing wardrobes for a new season, getting into fall and hygge. Maybe even if everybody's willing, start to plan Christmas. So, you guys, you know I love to talk about Christmas and changing wardrobes and getting into fall and the hygge. So, I don't know if you guys know Diane in Denmark. I'm actually going to chat with her in a couple of weeks and then do a video about hygge because I love fall and the coziness. Come January, February, I am not enjoying the dark. Now, one thing I did do is my vitamin D levels have been corrected. They were very low. They don't check them here. I had to pay to have it checked, but if I went and saw a naturopath and she checked them. She told me how to correct it. It's amazing. I feel a lot better, and I'm hoping that in winter I feel even better. I have a white, or I had a white like a sad lamp, and I let my son take it over to university. And I also have a red lamp. So those are things that I do to keep like myself happy. I got the candles. Those are very happy. They feel very hygge to me. And we did kind of start talk about planning for Christmas, but just like starting and thinking about what's coming and trying to very much enjoy the season you're in. And I feel like that's what I try so hard to do in January and February is like enjoy those seasons. It is just hard. And so what I did for my vitamin D level was she had me increase to, and I'm not giving advice on how to do this. I'm just telling you what I did, and you could talk to somebody. Um, she said the drops are far better and they don't taste like anything. And I just put them in my oats every morning. And I would take, I had to take 8,000 units a day, so 8 drops for 6 weeks. And now I just need to take 3,000 units a day. And I feel so much better, so much better. And I was like, my husband needs it too. So I'm trying to get him. Yes, I have taken magnesium for years because magnesium helps me fall asleep. I just take it before bed. It's like the magnesium bisglycinate. Citrate will help with your bowels. Bisglycinate helps with your sleep. And then there's some other one that helps with the muscles. Um, you thought I was saying hookah? Yeah, and so anyway, vitamin D, huge, and I mean, I live on the side of the mountain, it gets darker here, it's always also very rainy, like Huberman, if you know him, he always talks about, like, getting sunlight in your eyes every morning, and in the winter and he says, like, even if there's not sunlight, like, just something kinda like, try to get, like, natural light in your eyes, like, right away, and I now have a greenhouse, so I would go and, like, stand in the greenhouse a little bit or just go and stand, like, hopefully getting some light in my eyes, but it has to be, like, 5-10 minutes, so kinda hard, but at the same time, like, I was trying to, like for me, it's, like, trying to work on, like, the physiological stuff and then, like, the psychological stuff, like having the cozy candles, having like soft lamps on, keeping the house tidy. Like this is so important. And this is why the minimalism is so important, or not even minimalism, but just decluttering, like having your house tidy, like feeling like your environment is supporting you. That's why it's so important. And like when we talk about like changing wardrobes for a new season, so my mom, forever, I think she still does this. She would keep like her winter clothes in her suitcases during summer and then switch them. And it was like her thing where she would like switch her clothes. And I really appreciate that. Like, sort of like, I love the intentional, like, I'm switching it now thing. And I have like, I don't know if you know those like little Lululemon purses people wear. I have a couple of those. I have one that's pink and one that's green. And I meant to only have one, but then I have two. So now I have one for fall and winter and one for spring and summer. And it's like, I like the, like, I'm switching this now, right? Or I'm doing whatever. To me, it's like nice to signal that. And for people who live in an area that where they don't get like full defined seasons, for those of us who do have defined seasons, eh, I don't know like if it's just something we need or something we're just used to. That's just how I feel. Like I kind of just need to acknowledge the seasons and to say like now is the cozy season. Um Yeah, so my husband also struggles with, like, the winter, I think, and the other problem is he doesn't realize it. So, that's why I'm like, "Here's your vitamin D. Here's, 8 drops. I'm gonna, like, plop in your whatever food." So, yeah, that I think is really important, and I'll be like, "Go and sit in front of the red light." And for switching out your clothes, if you have not, as I mentioned before, like joined our challenge, like now is the time. It is going to be so good. You're going to declutter your closet. And it's the perfect time because you're switching seasons. So you can be like, hey, these are the winter clothes that I like to use or wear. And these are the clothes that I didn't wear all last summer. So am I able to let it go? So, yes, I am definitely suggesting you guys join next Monday. It's going to be so fun. And it's not going to take like a ton of your time. The videos should not be very long. The first one might be a tiny bit longer, like maybe 20 minutes, but they're going to be short. Um, and then you're going to do some work. And it's not going to be like you're like knee deep in clothes and you don't know what to do. I'm going to like walk you through it. Okay. Anita, you take 800 a day? Okay. Of vitamin D. So head over to the challenge. You go there, Coralie, minimalisthome.ca/closet. And you should get an email today if you sign up and one tomorrow. If you don't, let me know. You just joined in. Yay! Because um I noticed somebody yesterday was like, I did not get, or I couldn't click on this or that. So let me know. There's also going to be a private Facebook group. We're going to open the doors tomorrow. And it's going to be so fun. I am excited. And for those of you who've done my challenges before, I think you have said they were fun. And I just love fall. Like, I'm excited. I'm like into this. My husband's opening the garage. I don't know what he's doing. Now, I have an appointment to get to, everyone. I'm so excited. We're going to do this again soon. It's so good to see you all again for another live, and I am just so glad to have you all here, and have a great